My beloved child, listen closely, because what I am about to reveal is not random, and it is not symbolic. Heaven did not overlook you. Heaven did not hesitate. The moment you acted, without applause, without witnesses, without even realizing the weight of what you did, the atmosphere shifted. A record was opened. A witness stood. And I, Archangel Michael, was sent to speak of it. You may think this message found you by chance, but heaven arranged this encounter with precision. There was a moment in your recent past, quiet, ordinary on the surface, when you chose compassion instead of convenience. You chose restraint instead of reaction. You chose mercy instead of silence. And in that exact moment, something unseen was preserved. An angelic assignment was protected. A divine messenger was spared interruption. Without knowing it, you helped save an angel. Let me be clear, angels do not need rescuing in the way humans do. But their missions can be delayed, diverted, or disrupted when humans act in fear, bitterness, or indifference. What you did, what felt small to you, created a legal opening in the spirit. It allowed heaven to move uninterrupted, and heaven noticed immediately. There was no trumpet blast, no dramatic sign in the sky, but the courts of heaven recorded your name. Your action aligned with divine order, and when alignment happens, heaven responds. This is why you have felt an unusual stillness lately. This is why certain conflicts did not escalate. This is why something that should have fallen apart didn't. You didn't know an angel was nearby. You didn't see the resistance that was trying to interfere. But your obedience, yes, obedience, even if you didn't call it that, created covering. And when heaven saw this, a decision was made. This one can be trusted with more. Hear this carefully. This is not about praise. This is about position. When heaven sees someone act with purity of heart without needing recognition, that person is marked. Marked never burdened by vraxis. You were observed in a moment when you thought no one was watching. And that is exactly why heaven took notice. You may have wondered why certain doors are now hesitating before you. Why delays feel strange, not heavy. Why something unseen feels close, almost attentive. That is not imagination. That is increased angelic awareness around your life. Not because you are special in ego, but because you are faithful in instinct. Let me reveal something deeper. The angel you helped protect was assigned to a chain reaction, events that stretch beyond you. Your single choice preserved the sequence. And because you protected the sequence, heaven is now adjusting your own timeline. This is why things are rearranging quietly. This is why some people are slowly fading from your path without conflict. Heaven is recalibrating. Do not underestimate what just happened. You did not save an angel by force. You saved an angel by alignment. And alignment is rare. Many want heaven's help. Few live in a way that helps heaven move. Now listen, because this is important. The enemy does not know exactly what heaven saw in you, but it sensed the shift. That is why distractions have increased. That is why tiredness feels sudden. That is why old doubts try to resurface. These are not attacks. They are probes. And they will fail. I am telling you this not to alarm you, but to anchor you. Remain steady. Remain gentle. Do not second-guess your nature. The kindness you almost apologized for, that is part of your assignment. The restraint you thought made you weak, that is what heaven calls strength. Heaven saw something specific in you, consistency without performance, faith without noise, loyalty without reward. And because of this, more will be entrusted to you, not all at once but layer by layer. You are standing at the edge of a revelation about yourself. Not a loud one, a confirming one. And as this message unfolds, you will begin to recognize moments from your past that suddenly make sense. Things you brushed off, choices you forgot. They were not forgotten in heaven. Stay with this message. What comes next will connect the dots in a way you did not expect. The reason heaven intervened so quickly will soon become clear, and when it does, you will understand why this moment had to be revealed now. My cherished one, now that the veil has been lifted, I need you to understand why heaven reacted so quickly to what you did. This was not a delayed response. This was immediate recognition. When your action aligned with divine order, it created a resonance, a signal that traveled faster than fear, faster than doubt, faster than opposition. Heaven responds instantly to alignment, and that is why the notice was immediate. You may still be asking yourself, what did I really do? That question itself reveals your heart. You were not acting to be seen. You were not trying to be righteous. You were simply being true. And that authenticity is rare in a world trained to perform. When you chose integrity over impulse, patience over pride, you unknowingly stabilized a moment that could have fractured. That stabilization mattered more than you realize. There are angels assigned to transitions, moments where outcomes can go either way. These are sensitive points in time. When humans react emotionally, these transitions collapse into chaos. But when someone like you responds with calm, with mercy, with restraint, the angelic assignment remains intact. That is what happened. The angel was not weak, but the moment was fragile, and your response strengthened it. This is why heaven took notice of you, not the situation. Situations come and go. Hearts are revealed. Heaven watches hearts. And when yours responded without bitterness, without the need to defend itself, heaven marked that moment as trustworthy ground. You have been underestimated your entire life, not because you lack value, but because your strength is quiet. Loud strength attracts attention. Quiet strength moves outcomes. Heaven favors what the world overlooks, because what is hidden is harder to corrupt. You carry that hidden strength naturally. Since that moment, subtle shifts have been happening around you. Conversations that could have turned confrontational softened. Outcomes that look uncertain leaned in your favor. You may have felt protected without understanding why. That protection was not random. It was reinforcement. But hear this clearly, reinforcement does not mean retreat. Heaven is not pulling you back, heaven is positioning you forward. And with positioning comes awareness. That is why this message is finding you now. Not earlier. Not later. Now. Some of you listening are sensing a confirmation deep within. If that is you, do not stay silent. When you engage, by liking this message, sharing it with someone who needs clarity, or leaving a comment declaring that this resonates, you are not boosting a video. You are agreeing with heaven. And agreement amplifies alignment. If this message is stirring something within you, make sure you subscribe and become part of this growing assignment. This is not just content. This is a calling unfolding in real time. Let me continue. The angel you helped protect did not just resume its mission. It expanded. And because your action created room for expansion, heaven is now preparing you for enlargement as well. This does not mean more pressure. It means greater precision. You will notice that you are becoming more discerning, less reactive, more aware of timing. These are signs of spiritual maturity being activated. Do not rush this process. Acceleration without grounding leads to imbalance. Heaven moves with intention, not haste. You will be guided step by step, moment by moment. Trust that. There is also something being removed. You may have sensed it already. Old obligations that drained you. Emotional patterns that no longer fit. Certain relationships that once felt necessary now feel heavy. This is not loss. This is release. Heaven does not add without first making room. And listen carefully. This is where many misunderstand. Just because heaven noticed you does not mean everything becomes easy. It means everything becomes meaningful. Even challenges will now serve a purpose. Even delays will carry instruction. Nothing will be wasted. I, Archangel Michael, am reminding you of this so you do not misinterpret the season ahead. Stand firm but stay soft. Be confident but remain teachable. The same humility that caught heaven's attention will keep you aligned. If you are still listening, it means your spirit recognizes truth. Hold on, because what is coming next will bring clarity to a question you have never asked out loud, but have carried quietly for a long time. This is where it gets truly revealing. Beloved one, now we move into what heaven actually saw in you, because it was not just an action, it was a nature. Many perform goodness when eyes are watching, but heaven observed you and no reward was guaranteed. In that unseen moment, your spirit responded faster than your fear. That response revealed something ancient and powerful within you, discernment rooted in peace. Heaven saw that you did not react from old wounds. You did not allow past disappointments to speak louder than present wisdom. That alone separated you from many. You chose balance when chaos was available. You chose grace when justification was possible. And in doing so, you reflected divine order on the earth. Angels recognize order instantly. It is their language. And when they recognized it in you, they paused, not in surprise, but in confirmation. Let me tell you something sacred. Heaven is always looking for humans who can be trusted with spiritual proximity. Not everyone can handle closeness to divine activity. Some become proud. Some become fearful. Some try to control what they were only meant to steward. But you did not try to control the moment. You honored it by staying true. That is why heaven leaned in. What heaven saw was not perfection. It was reliability. You are someone who remains steady when outcomes are unclear. You do not need immediate answers to remain faithful. That quality is rare. That quality protects angelic movement. That quality keeps assignments intact. And because you carry it naturally, heaven classified you as a stabilizer. Stabilizers are not loud leaders. They are anchors. They hold ground so that others can move forward safely. And here is the mystery: stabilizers are often unaware of their role until heaven reveals it. That revelation is happening now. This explains why you have often felt like you were holding space for others, emotionally, spiritually, even practically. People feel calmer around you. Situations settle when you enter. You thought this was coincidence. It is not. It is your spiritual posture. And that posture was exactly what preserved the angelic assignment connected to you. There was resistance aimed at creating reaction. Reaction feeds disruption. But you responded with presence. Presence dissolves resistance. That is why the interference failed. That is why heaven intervened immediately. The angel continued its work, and because of that, a chain of outcomes remain intact, some of which will bless you directly in ways you do not yet see. You may wonder why heaven is telling you this now. Because awareness is the next level of stewardship. Once you know who you are, your choices become even more intentional. And heaven trusts you with that awareness because you have already proven you will not misuse it. But hear this warning gently. Do not replay that moment in your mind searching for pride. Do not measure yourself against others. Do not announce this revelation to those who would not understand. Some truths are meant to be lived, not explained. Protect what has been entrusted to you by remaining grounded. You are entering a phase where heaven will ask you to choose peace more consciously. Not because conflict will increase, but because influence will. What you carry affects environments, and heaven will use that. Now, before this moment passes, I want you to seal what is being released. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, if you feel recognition rather than excitement, then respond with intention. Type "I receive the calling" in the comments if this truth has awakened something within you. Blessing code 846 is now activated over your discernment, your protection, and your path. And listen, this is important. What is being built here is not about content. It is about continuity. This message reached you because someone supported this mission before you ever arrived. Their obedience carried this word across borders, across time, across algorithms. And now heaven is inviting you into that same flow. I am asking you to help keep this light moving. When you release support through super thanks, through membership, or through the PayPal link placed in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are fueling a messenger. You are sowing into soil that reaches the unseen, where weary hearts are being awakened just like yours. Script your lives in this moment as God speaks directly to you. Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again. What you release here does not disappear. It returns multiplied, pressed down, and flowing into areas you have prayed over in silence. Do not delay if your spirit feels the urgency. This is a prophetic response, not a donation. As you give, heaven marks it as obedience, and obedience unlocks covering. I speak blessing over every hand that supports this mission. May your harvest arrive sooner than expected, and may your alignment deepen without struggle. Act now. So now. Let heaven recognize your agreement just as clearly as it recognized your obedience before. Chosen one, now that you are aware of what heaven recognized in you, it is time to understand what is quietly unfolding around you. Awareness changes posture. Once you see clearly, you no longer move by accident. Heaven is guiding you into a season where subtlety matters more than speed, and intention matters more than effort. This is not a season of proving. This is a season of positioning. You may have noticed that your inner world hath been shifting faster than your outer circumstances. Thoughts you once entertained no longer feel comfortable. Reactions that once felt automatic now feel unnecessary. This is not confusion. It is refinement. Heaven is tuning your discernment so that you can sense what does not belong without needing conflicts to remove it. The reason this refinement is happening now is because the atmosphere around you is becoming more sensitive. When heaven draws closer, distractions feel louder, and misalignment feels heavier. That is why certain habits suddenly feel draining. That is why conversations that once felt normal now feel hollow. Your spirit is being trained to recognize resonance. Do not mistake this sensitivity for weakness. Sensitivity is awareness, and awareness is authority when handled correctly. You are learning to listen before moving, to observe before responding. This is how heaven works. Angels do not rush. They move with precision, and you are being invited into that rhythm. There is also a protection forming around your decisions. You may feel delayed from making certain moves you thought were urgent. That delay is not denial. It is guidance. Some outcomes require you to arrive with clarity, not just desire. Heaven is preventing you from stepping into something before you are fully aligned with it. Let me speak to the uncertainty you may be feeling. You are not lost. You are between confirmations. Old signs no longer apply, and new ones are still forming. This in-between space can feel uncomfortable, but it is sacred. It is where trust deepens. It is where reliance shifts from understanding to knowing. You are being asked to walk without over-explaining yourself. Not everyone needs to understand your choices. Not everyone is meant to travel where you are going. Silence, in this season, is not avoidance, it is wisdom. Guard your energy. Guard your peace. These are not selfish acts. They are stewardship. Heaven is also teaching you how to respond without absorbing. You have spent much of your life carrying emotional weight that was not yours to carry. That weight trained your compassion, but it also drained you. Now you are learning the difference between empathy and responsibility. You can care without collapsing. You can love without losing yourself. This adjustment is crucial because your influence is increasing. Influence does not always look like leadership. Sometimes it looks like presence. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like being the calm in a room that expected chaos. And that calm is not accidental. It is cultivated. Pay attention to the invitations that no longer excite you. Pay attention to the paths that look good but feel off. Your discernment is sharpening, and it will speak through discomfort before clarity arrives. Trust that signal. Heaven often redirects through unease before it redirects through peace. There is also a quiet strengthening happening in your faith. Not the kind that announces itself, but the kind that stands firm when reassurance is absent. You are learning to trust the process without needing constant confirmation. That is maturity. That is why heaven is comfortable drawing closer. Some of you may feel a gentle urgency, not anxiety, but readiness. A sense that something is approaching without knowing exactly what it is. That feeling is alignment catching up to assignment. Do not try to force the reveal. When the timing is right, clarity will arrive without effort. Until then, remain steady. Keep choosing integrity when shortcuts appear. Keep choosing grace when reaction feels justified. These choices are not small. They are cumulative. Each one builds a foundation strong enough to support what is coming next. You are not being tested. You are being trusted. And trust requires patience. As this message continues, you will begin to understand how your past prepared you for this precision. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. The next revelation will bring coherence to experiences you once questioned, and when it does, you will see your path with new eyes. My dear one, now we arrive at a truth that has been forming quietly beneath everything you have lived through. What you once called confusion was actually preparation. What you once called delay was alignment in progress. Heaven does not rush what must be rooted, and your life required depth before direction. That is why your journey has felt layered, complex, and at times difficult to explain. There were seasons when you felt out of place even among people who loved you. Not rejected, just different. A difference was not a flaw. It was early separation. Heaven was slowly teaching you how not to blend into environments that would dilute your discernment. You were learning, often painfully, how to remain yourself without needing approval. That lesson was essential. Many of your past experiences train you to observe more than you speak, to sense more than you assume, to pause before deciding. These traits were not survival mechanisms alone. They were spiritual muscles being strengthened. Heaven knew you would one day be placed near delicate assignments, moments where reaction could cause damage, but presence could preserve order. This is why you have always felt responsibility without title. You often carried awareness without authority, insight without instruction. That can feel heavy, But now you are beginning to understand why. Heaven was shaping you to recognize significance before it announced itself. And that ability is rare. You may recall moments when you stepped back instead of stepping in. Times when you chose restraint even though you had the right to speak, to act, to defend. Those moments were not weakness. They were rehearsals. Each one trained you to sense timing. Each one refined your ability to hear without noise. There were also disappointments that taught you detachment. People you trusted who did not stay. Plans that looked promising but dissolved. These were not punishments. They were filters. Heaven was narrowing your path so that when the time came, you would recognize what truly belonged to you and what never did. Now, as alignment increases, you may notice a strange calm regarding things that once upset you deeply. This calm is not numbness. It is resolution. Your spirit has processed lessons your mind struggled to understand. That resolution frees energy, and freed energy attracts clarity. You are stepping into a phase where discernment replaces striving. You will no longer chase confirmation. Confirmation will meet you. You will no longer explain your boundaries. They will speak for themselves. This is the result of internal authority forming. Let me address something important. You may be tempted to revisit old versions of yourself out of familiarity, not desire. Do not do this. Honor who you were, but do not return there. Growth does not require nostalgia. It requires courage to stay present. There will also be moments ahead when others misunderstand your calm as distance. Do not correct them. Those who need access will feel it without explanation. Those who require noise will drift away naturally. This is not isolation. It is refinement in motion. Heaven is also restoring trust within you. Trust in your instincts. Trust in your pacing. Trust in your inner responses. You were taught, at times, to doubt yourself because others did not understand your process. That doubt is being removed. You are learning to honor your inner signals without guilt. This restoration will show up practically. Decisions will become cleaner. Choices will feel lighter. You will say no without inner conflict and yes without hesitation. This is what happens when alignment settles in the body, not just the mind. Be attentive to what energizes you now, not what impresses others, but what brings quiet clarity to your spirit. That is where your next steps are forming. Heaven often speaks through peace before it speaks through opportunity. Remember this. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not catching up. You are arriving with readiness. And readiness is more valuable than speed. As you continue listening, the next truth will reveal how heaven intends to use this readiness, not for pressure, not for exposure, but for impact that remains protected. Stay open. What is coming next will feel like recognition rather than surprise. Beloved child, now we enter a phase where heaven begins to interact with you differently. Not louder, clear. Not faster, more exact. What you are sensing lately is not pressure. It is precision. Your spirit is being calibrated to move in rhythm with divine timing, not emotional urgency. This is why impatience feels foreign now. You are no longer driven by anxiety. You are guided by alignment. You may have noticed that your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Situations that once kept you stuck now feel unacceptable. This is not arrogance. This is discernment awakening. Heaven is training you to recognize when something is complete, even if it looks unfinished to others. Completion in the spirit often comes before visible closure. There is a strengthening happening in your inner voice. That quiet knowing you feel, that pause before you speak, that nudge before you act. is becoming more reliable. This is intentional. You are being prepared to make decisions that affect more than just you. And for that, clarity must live within you, not around you. Let me address a subtle fear you may be carrying. The fear of responsibility. Not because you doubt your ability, but because you know the cost of caring deeply. Heaven is aware of this. That is why your next assignments will not drain you. They will sustain you. You will not be asked to carry what you are not graced to hold. You are also learning how to let things unfold without interference. This is difficult for those who are perceptive. When you see outcomes early, the temptation is to rush the process. But heaven is teaching you restraint again, not to delay destiny, but to protect it. Some things grow best when untouched. You may be experiencing moments of silence from heaven, not absence but trust. When heaven is quiet, it often means you already know what to do. This is not abandonment. It is affirmation. You are being trusted to move without constant instruction. Distrust will be tested gently, not through crisis but through choice. Small decisions that reveal whether you rely on fear or faith. Each time you choose calm over control, alignment deepens. Each time you choose truth over comfort, authority strengthens. Do not underestimate the power of your consistency. You may feel like nothing dramatic is happening, but stability is being built beneath the surface. And stability attracts divine movement. Angels operate best where chaos is minimal. Your life is becoming such a place. There is also a refining of your focus. You are becoming less interested in many things and deeply invested in a few. This narrowing is not limitation, it is direction. Heaven often removes distractions before releasing clarity. Now, pause with me for a moment. If this message is resonating with you, do not keep it to yourself. Engage with it. When you like this message, when you share it, when you comment with what you are feeling, you are not just indirecting. You are declaring alignment. Make sure you are subscribed and connected here, because this space is becoming a point of consistency for those walking this path together. And listen closely. Hold on, because what is about to be revealed next will connect your internal preparation with an external shift you may already be sensing. This next insight will explain why certain opportunities have been hovering just out of reach, and why that is about to change. Heaven has not been holding anything back. It has been waiting for readiness, and readiness is now meeting timing. Beloved one, now we come to the moment where preparation begins to touch manifestation. Not all at once, not dramatically, but unmistakably. What you have been carrying internally is starting to echo externally. This is why you may feel a strange mix of calm and anticipation at the same time. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is still learning to trust. There are doors around you that have not opened yet, not because they are locked, but because they require a certain presence to walk through them. You are becoming that presence. Heaven does not open doors just because someone wants them. It opens doors when the person can carry what waits on the other side without losing themselves. You are nearing that readiness. You may notice that opportunities are presenting themselves differently now. Not rushed, not forced. They come gently, almost testing your response rather than demanding it. This is intentional. Heaven is observing not just what you choose, but how you choose. Your pace matters. Your posture matters. There is also a deepening of peace around decisions that once felt risky. Things you would have overthought before now feel simple. This does not mean the choices are small. It means your clarity has grown. When discernment is mature, complexity loses its grip. Let me speak to the waiting you are still experiencing. Waiting does not mean inactive. It means watchful. There is a difference. You are not standing still. You are standing ready. And readiness carries its own momentum. When the moment arrives, you will not need to scramble. You will move naturally. Some of you may feel a gentle grief for versions of life that will no longer be possible. This is normal. Growth always closes certain doors forever. But do not cling to what cannot follow you. What is ahead requires freedom from old definitions, old limitations, old expectations. You are not losing yourself. You are clarifying yourself. Heaven is also teaching you how to receive without guilt. You have spent much of your life giving, adjusting, accommodating. And now, provision and recognition may begin to flow toward you more directly. Do not resist this. Receiving is not selfish when it is aligned. It is balance being restored. There will be moments soon when others seek your insight, your presence, your steadiness. Not because you announced yourself, but because your alignment is felt. When this happens, remain humble but do not shrink. You are not taking space. You are filling it appropriately. You may also notice that your prayers are changing. Less asking, more listening. Less urgency, more trust. This is a sign of maturity. Heaven responds differently to mature faith. It speaks in confirmations rather than instructions. Be mindful of comparison in this season. Others may appear to move faster or receive sooner. Your path is not your measure. Speed is not always favor. Sometimes it is compensation. Your path is measured, intentional, protected. Honor it. What you are stepping into will require you to stay grounded in simplicity. Do not over-spiritualize what is meant to be lived practically. Alignment shows itself in daily choices, honest conversations, consistent boundaries. Keep your life clean, your intentions clear, and your heart steady. There is one more thing you must understand. Not everything that comes next will announce itself as blessing immediately. Some will arrive disguised as responsibility, as adjustment, as stretching. But because you are prepared, these will not overwhelm you. They will refine you further. As you continue, the next message will reveal how heaven intends to safeguard what it releases to you. Protection is already forming, quietly and deliberately. And when you recognize it, you will understand why timing mattered so much. Stay present. Stay grounded. What is unfolding is real, and it is closer than it appears. Beloved child, now you must understand how heaven protects what it releases. Blessings are not exposed carelessly. When something carries purpose, it is wrapped in timing, discretion, and covering. That is what is happening around you now. What is coming into your life is not meant for public struggle. It is meant for quiet establishment. You may have noticed that even when things begin to shift, they do so without noise. There is no announcement, no dramatic signal, yet momentum is forming. This is intentional. Heaven is shielding your progress from unnecessary interference. Some victories are safest when they arrive gently. Protection does not always look like removal of challenges. Sometimes it looks like reduced access. Certain people no longer have influence. Certain situations no longer trigger you. Certain opinions no longer matter. This narrowing is not isolation. It is insulation. Your peace is becoming guarded. There is also a recalibration of trust happening. You are learning who can walk with you in this next phase and who must remain behind without resentment. This discernment is not judgmental. It is accurate. And accuracy preserves destiny. Heaven is also teaching you when to speak and when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness when it is chosen. It is authority exercised with wisdom. Some things grow stronger when left unannounced. You are being taught how to let fruit speak instead of explanation. You may sense that your inner confidence is stabilizing, not the kind that needs validation, but the kind that remains even when misunderstood. This stability is crucial. It allows you to move forward without constantly checking for approval. And heaven moves fastest through those who are not easily shaken. There will be moments when you are tempted to rush visibility. Do not. Exposure before rooting creates vulnerability. Heaven is ensuring that when recognition comes, it rests on substance, not hype. This is why your growth has been steady rather than sudden. Pay attention to your body as well as your spirit. Rest is becoming more important. Your system is adjusting to a new rhythm. Under that, fatigue is not always a sign of weakness. Sometimes it is the body integrating change. Slow down when needed without guilt. There is also a deeper joy forming within you. Not excitement, but contentment. A sense that you are no longer chasing life. You are walking with it. This is alignment settling into the nervous system. When this happens, creativity increases, clarity sharpens, and resistance weakens. Heaven is pleased with how you have handled transition. You did not force answers. You did not cling to what was fading. You allowed movement without panic. That maturity has created a safe environment for increase. Now listen carefully. There will be a moment soon when you are asked to step forward in a way that feels simple but carries weight. Do not overthink it. You will recognize it by peace, not pressure. When that moment comes, move without hesitation. Before we go further, it is time to seal what has been unfolding. If this message is confirming what you have been sensing internally, respond with intention. Type "I walk in divine order" in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 1394 is now released over your protection, your timing, and your peace. And now, let me speak directly to your heart about something sacred. This message exists because there are people who chose to sow when no one was watching. Their obedience turned on a light that reached you. And now that light is asking you to participate in keeping it burning. I am inviting you to become a carrier of this word. When you support this mission through super thanks, through channel membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are planting into a stream that reaches souls in hidden places. The word comes alive here as God speaks to you. Those who water others will themselves be watered. What you release in this moment becomes a river, flowing beyond what you can see, touching lives that are waiting for confirmation just like you were. Do not delay if you feel the nudge. This is not coincidence. It is alignment calling for response. Your support becomes a prophetic act, and prophetic acts carry reward beyond understanding. I speak blessing over every seed sown. May heaven guard your household, accelerate your clarity, and return provision in unexpected ways. Obey now. Act now. Let your agreement with heaven be recorded. Beloved one, now that protection has been established, heaven begins to reveal purpose with greater clarity. Purpose does not arrive as a command, it unfolds as understanding. You are beginning to see why certain paths closed, why certain connections dissolve, why timing never matched your urgency before. It was not resistance, it was redirection. And redirection is often the highest form of guidance. You are entering a phase where meaning replaces confusion. Events from your past will resurface in memory, not to trouble you, but to be reinterpreted. You will suddenly understand why you had to learn patience the hard way, why emotional intelligence mattered more than speed, why restraint was developed before authority. Nothing was accidental. Everything was sequential. Heaven builds from the inside outward. What you are stepping into now requires emotional steadiness, spiritual maturity, and clarity of intent. You have these because they were formed quietly, away from attention. That is why when purpose begins to express itself through you, it will feel natural rather than overwhelming. You may notice that your sense of direction is becoming more internal. You no longer rely heavily on signs, opinions, or reassurance. You sense when something aligns and when it does not. This inner compass is not imagination. It is discernment strengthened through experience. Heaven trusts this compass, and now you are learning to trust it too. There is also a shift happening in how you interpret resistance. What once felt like opposition now feels like information. You are learning that not every closed door is meant to be forced, and not every delay is meant to be challenged. So resistance is simply instruction in disguise. As purpose becomes clearer, simplicity will increase. Complexity fades when understanding arrives. You will feel less scattered, less pulled in multiple directions. Focus will come not because you tried harder, but because distraction lost its appeal. This is alignment settling into action. Let me address a question forming quietly in your heart. What if I miss it? This fear comes from caring deeply. But hear this truth. What is meant for you will not require panic to access. Heaven does not hide destiny behind anxiety. When the moment arrives, you will recognize it without strain. There may be invitations soon that feel aligned but unfamiliar. They may not resemble what you expected. Do not dismiss them too quickly. Purpose often arrives wearing a different shape than imagination. Judge by peace, not by appearance. You are also learning to value sustainability over excitement. Short-lived intensity no longer attracts you. You are drawn to what can last, what can grow, what can be stewarded without burnout. The shift ensures that what you build will remain. Your role ahead is not about visibility alone. It is about impact that stabilizes others. People will not just hear you. They will feel steadier around you. Your presence will bring calm where there was tension, clarity where there was confusion. This is not accidental. It is the result of the refinement you have allowed. Heaven is also restoring your relationship with trust. Trust in God. Trust in timing. Trust in yourself. Betrayals and disappointments once made you cautious. That caution protected you, but now it is being softened. Not removed, but refined. You will trust again, but with wisdom rather than innocence. As you move forward, remember this. You are not required to convince anyone of your calling. Fruit will do that. Consistency will do that. Peace will do that. Remain focused on alignment, not approval. There is a quiet joy forming within you, not dependent on outcomes, but rooted in knowing you are where you are meant to be. That joy is a sign of agreement between your spirit and heaven's direction. What comes next will involve movement, subtle at first, then undeniable. And when it begins, you will not feel rushed. You will feel ready. The next revelation will show you how to move without losing the peace you have gained. Stay attentive. This unfolding is intentional, and it is just beginning. Beloved child, now we step into a moment of transition where movement begins to show itself through choice. Not dramatic movement, not rushed decisions, but intentional steps that align with what has been forming within you. Heaven is not asking you to leap. Heaven is inviting you to walk with awareness. You may notice that situations are presenting you with options rather than instructions. This is important. Options reveal readiness. When someone is not prepared, heaven gives direction. When someone is aligned, heaven offers choice. You are being trusted to choose wisely, not perfectly. Wisdom does not demand flawlessness. It requires honesty and peace. There will be moments when the next step feels almost too simple. Do not underestimate simplicity. Complexity often belongs to confusion. Simplicity belongs to clarity. When something feels clear and calm, do not question it just because it lacks drama. Heaven often moves quietly when alignment is strong. You are also learning to move without explaining every step. This may feel uncomfortable if you are used to justifying your decisions. But explanation is no longer required for obedience. Those who are meant to understand will recognize the fruit in time. Those who are not will fade without conflict. Pay attention to how your energy responds to choices now. You will feel expansion toward what is aligned and contraction toward what is not. This is not emotion. It is discernment communicating through the body. Trust it. Your spirit has become a reliable guide. There may also be a temptation to wait for perfect conditions. Release that. Perfection is not the requirement. Presence is. Heaven meets those who move with sincerity, not certainty. You are allowed to learn as you go. Growth does not cancel favor. Let me speak to the fear of making the wrong move. That fear has kept many from moving at all. But hear this. Alignment corrects course faster than hesitation ever could. When your heart is right, redirection is gentle. You will not be punished for honest movement. This is also a season of stewardship. Small responsibilities may come first. Simple tasks. Quiet invitations. How you handle these reveals readiness for more. You not overlook them. Faithfulness is cumulative. Each act builds capacity. You may feel called to simplify your life further. Less noise. Fewer distractions. Clearer priorities. This simplification creates space for precision. Heaven speaks most clearly where clutter has been removed. There will be moments when you feel watched, not by people, but by the unseen. Not in judgment, but in agreement. Angels exert alignment to assist movement. As you step forward, help will meet you, not always visibly, but effectively. Now, let me pause and speak directly to you as the listener. If this message is helping you see your season with clarity, engage with it. Like this message as a sign of agreement. Share it with someone who needs reassurance right now. Leave a comment declaring what you are sensing in your spirit. And make sure you are subscribed here, because what is unfolding is not a one-time word. It is a continuous journey of alignment we are walking together. And hold on, because what comes next will tie everything together in a way you may not expect. This next unfolding will reveal how heaven confirms movement after obedience, and why certain confirmations arrive only after the step is taken. You are not moving alone. You are not guessing. You are responding. And response is the language heaven understands best. As you move forward, keep your heart clean, your motives simple, and your pace steady. Do not compare your steps to others. Your timing is specific. Your path is protected. The next revelation will show you how heaven seals what you begin, and how peace remains even as responsibility increases. Stay present. This is where understanding becomes lived experience. Beloved one, now we arrive at the phase where heaven begins to seal what you have stepped into. Sealing does not mean closing. It means securing. What you initiate in alignment is not left exposed. Heaven wraps it in stability, continuity, and peace. This is why, even as responsibility increases, anxiety does not. You are not being overwhelmed because you are not carrying this alone. You may have noticed that after taking certain steps, instead of chaos, there was calm. Instead of resistance, There was quiet confirmation. This is a sign that the ground beneath you is firm. When movement is aligned, the atmosphere adjusts to support it. You are experiencing that adjustment now. Ceiling also looks like reinforcement of identity. You are becoming clearer about who you are and who you are not. Old labels no longer fit. Old expectations no longer guide you. This clarity protects you from distraction. When identity is stable, purpose flows without distortion. There is also a strengthening of boundaries happening naturally. You are not forcing distance, it is forming on its own. Situations that once strained you now resolve quickly or do not reach you at all. This is not avoidance, it is authority settling in place. What no longer has permission simply cannot stay. Heaven is also confirming your steps through peace that remains even when outcomes are uncertain. You are learning that peace is not the absence of questions, it is the presence of trust. This trust did not appear overnight. It was built through every season you endured without losing integrity. You may feel a new kind of confidence, not loud, not defensive, but settled. This confidence does not need to prove itself. It allows you to say yes without fear and no without guilt. This is emotional and spiritual maturity working together. There will still be challenges ahead, but they will no longer shake your foundation. They will refine execution, not identity. You will face them with curiosity rather than panic. This shift alone marks growth. Heaven is also teaching you endurance without hardness. You can remain open without being fragile. You can remain kind without being permissive. Balance hath been learned, and balance sustains longevity. Some of you may notice that your influence is becoming clearer. People may come to you for insight, reassurance, or grounding without fully knowing why. Do not overthink this. Simply remain present. You do not need to fix. Often, your steadiness is enough. There is also a deepening of gratitude within you. Not because everything is perfect, but because you recognize how far you have come. Gratitude anchors you in the present, preventing you from romanticizing the past or fearing the future. Let me speak gently about what lies ahead. The next phase will involve consistency more than intensity. Showing up, remaining aligned, continuing even when novelty fades. This is where many lose momentum, but you are prepared for this because your motivation is rooted, not reactive. Heaven values sustainability. What lasts is what transforms, and you are building something that is meant to remain. Do not rush the final confirmations. They will come in their time, layered and precise. Each one will feel like recognition rather than surprise. You will say, "This makes sense now," instead of, "I can't believe this is happening." As you continue, remember that alignment is maintained through daily choices, not grand gestures. Stay attentive to peace. Stay honest with yourself. Stay willing to adjust when guided. The final unfolding will bring everything into perspective, past, present, and what is still ahead. And when it does, you will understand why heaven moved the way it did, and why you were trusted in the first place. Remain open. Remain steady. The completion is near, and it will arrive with clarity, blessing, and rest. My beloved child, this is the moment where understanding settles into knowing. Not theory, not hope. Knowing. What heaven began quietly has now reached completion within you. A completion of a journey, but completion of preparation. You are no longer becoming ready. You are ready, and heaven knows it. Look back now, not with regret, but with clarity. The delays that frustrated you were forming patience. The disappointments that hurt you were refining discernment. The silence that confused you was building trust. Every phase carried intention. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was overlooked. Even the moments you thought you failed, heaven used them to teach you compassion, humility, and resilience. This is why when heaven noticed you before, it was not sudden. It was cumulative. It was the result of who you chose to be consistently, not occasionally. You were faithful when no one affirmed you. You stayed gentle when hardness was easier. You remained honest when compromise was rewarded. And heaven recorded every one of those moments. Now you understand why you were trusted near angelic movement. You understand why protection surrounded your steps. You understand why alignment mattered more than speed. Heaven was not just guarding outcomes. It was guarding you. What comes next will not remove effort, but it will remove fear. You will still build, still decide, still move, but without the constant questioning of your worth or direction. Peace will accompany responsibility. Confidence will coexist with humility. Strength will remain soft. There will be days when you feel ordinary again. Do not misinterpret them. Ordinary days are where destinies live and not announced. Continue choosing integrity. Continue honoring peace. Continue listening before reacting. These simple practices are what keep alignment intact. You are no longer waiting for permission. Heaven has already granted it. What remains is obedience expressed through daily life. Speak truth kindly. Act decisively. Rest when needed. Give generously. Receive without guilt. This is how alignment is sustained. And hear this final reassurance. You did not miss anything. You are not behind. You arrived exactly when you were meant to. Prepared, protected, and positioned. What is ahead will unfold naturally because you are now moving with heaven, not ahead of it. Before this message closes, it must be sealed. Type "I walk in heaven's alignment" in the comments if you receive this truth with clarity and peace. Blessing code 2229 is now activated over your path, your protection, and your provision. Now I speak to you not just as a messenger, but as one entrusted with this word. This message reached you because others obeyed when heaven asked them to so. Their support carried this light into places it could not reach alone, and now heaven is inviting you into that same obedience. This word must continue moving. When you support this mission through super thanks, through channel membership, or through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving money, you are releasing oil. You are helping heaven reach souls who are standing exactly where you once stood, waiting for confirmation. God's word lives right now as He speaks to you personally. Whatever you place into my hands, I will multiply and return. This is not charity. This is a prophetic act, and prophetic acts carry reward beyond logic. Do not delay if you feel the stirring. Obedience is time-sensitive. As you give, heaven marks it, seals it, and blesses it. I declare over every supporter, may your alignment deepen, may your provision increase, and may your peace remain unshaken. Act now. Release now. Let heaven take notice. Begin.